As king over all Israel, David ushered in a period of prosperity and strength. God blessed his leadership, and under David's rule, Israel became a powerful nation, expanding its territory and securing peace through military victories. David's wisdom and reliance on God in battle made him an exceptional leader, admired and loved by his people. His devotion to God was evident as he sought to make Jerusalem not only the political, but also the spiritual center of Israel. One of David's greatest achievements was bringing the Ark of the Covenant to Jerusalem, symbolizing God's presence among his people. David organized a joyous procession to bring the Ark into the city, dancing before the Lord with all his might, unashamed of his worship. This moment highlighted David's deep love and reverence for God, showing that he viewed his kingship as a way to serve and honor the Lord. In response to David's faithfulness, God made a covenant with him, promising that his dynasty would endure forever, ultimately leading to the Messiah. Despite his many successes, David faced intense personal challenges that tested his character and relationship with God. At the height of his power, David made a critical mistake that would forever alter his life and reign. One evening, as his army was off fighting, David saw Bathsheba, the wife of Uriah, a loyal soldier, bathing on her rooftop. Driven by temptation, David summoned her to his palace, and they committed adultery. When Bathsheba became pregnant, David tried to cover up his sin. He called Uriah back from the battlefield, hoping he would go home to his wife and believe the child was his. But Uriah's loyalty to his fellow soldiers and his refusal to enjoy comforts while others were at war thwarted David's plan. In desperation, David ordered Uriah to be placed in the front lines, where he was killed in battle. David then took Bathsheba as his wife, thinking his actions would remain hidden. However, God saw David's sin and sent the prophet Nathan to confront him. Nathan told David a parable of a rich man who stole a poor man's only lamb, and when David angrily condemned the man's actions, Nathan revealed that David was that man. Stricken with guilt, David realized the depth of his wrongdoing. Unlike Saul, David immediately confessed his sin, expressing deep remorse and seeking God's forgiveness. Though God forgave him, the consequences of his actions brought turmoil to his family and kingdom. David's household experienced conflict, betrayal, and sorrow. His son Absalom eventually rebelled against him, leading to a painful civil war. Despite the heartache, David continued to rely on God, repenting sincerely and seeking God's guidance. Through his brokenness, David grew closer to God, learning that God's mercy is greater than any sin. David's reign was marked by incredible highs and deep lows, illustrating the complexity of his character. His life shows both the beauty of faithfulness and the painful consequences of sin. Yet, David remained a man after God's own heart, constantly returning to God in humility and repentance. Applications. The importance of accountability. Nathan's role in confronting David reminds us of the need for accountability. We all need trusted people who can speak truth into our lives, helping us stay on course. The dangers of complacency. David's sin with Bathsheba occurred when he neglected his responsibilities and stayed behind while his army fought. Complacency in our spiritual lives can make us vulnerable to temptation, underscoring the need for vigilance. The power of repentance. David's response to Nathan's rebuke shows the power of true repentance. Rather than making excuses, he took responsibility and sought God's forgiveness. A sincere heart can find healing and restoration, no matter the depth of the sin. Consequences of sin. David's sin brought painful consequences that affected his family and kingdom. This teaches us that while God's grace is always available, the consequences of our actions can ripple through our lives and affect those around us. God's unfailing mercy. Despite his failures, David was forgiven because of God's great mercy. David's story encourages us to seek God's grace, knowing that his mercy is greater than any sin, and that he can redeem even our worst mistakes.